Shaheen.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Senator Schatz for holding this critical hearing, and thank you to all of our witnesses for your very important testimony. It's very clear that Vladimir Putin is trying to wipe Ukraine, its culture, and its history off the map. Senator Graham, I hope the Senate moves very quickly to pass your legislation, the Russia State Sponsor of Terrorism Bill, which would address this issue of children who have been kidnapped, and it's now time for Congress to act on that. Ambassador, there have been reports that the United States is considering de facto recognizing Russian control over occupied Ukrainian territories. I hope these reports are not correct, because I think this would invite further Russian aggression. But can you talk about what the consequences of that kind of recognition would mean for the Ukrainian children that we're talking about?
Thank you, Senator, for this question. Indeed, it's not a secret that there was a 28-point plan which was put on the table for the discussion, which eventually evolved into a 90-point plan after Geneva, and have been further discussed in Florida last weekend and have been discussed in Moscow by Steve Witkoff, special envoy of President Trump to President Putin. So at this point, it is clear and an official understanding that whatever is discussion about the territory is not, anything is not yet decided. But even if we're speaking about a ceasefire or stopping on the existing line, this is also a condition that every person, whether it's a child or a grown-up on the occupied territory, have to have the right to leave the occupied territory and reunite back with their family, with their country. And this is not something that is being under discussion or under negotiations. Whatever the settlement will be, even if it's just a ceasefire, at this point, being in occupation, it's also being in captivity, where people have no choice whether they stay in the occupation or flee to Russia. So Ukraine has the right to accept every Ukrainian from the occupied territory or deoccupy it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not sure, maybe Mr. Raymond, this question is best for you, but why is accountability for war crimes, or perhaps Mrs. Rashevska, why is the accountability for war crimes and the release of all people unjustly held so important for peace to be just and lasting?
Thank you for this excellent question. I will start, and maybe Nathaniel will add something. As a lawyer, I can tell that there is no fair and just peace without accountability processes for those who committed war crimes and crimes against humanity. It is needed not only for Ukrainian children and for Ukraine as a state. It is also needed for the international community to maintain the existing legal order and to avoid the repetition of all these atrocities in some other parts of our world. And also it should be noted that it also needed for Russians to avoid this resentment and to avoid the renewal of all these crimes and of all these atrocities in future in Ukraine or in some other parts of Europe. We see that Russians are militarizing children. Russians are preparing them to launch the new war of aggression. And that is why without accountability for them, we just can't stop all these processes. We cannot tell to the Office of the Prosecutor of the ICC to stop investigation. It is impossible under the Rome Statute. It is also impossible to stop the process of creation of the special tribunal for the aggression against Ukraine. It was already launched. And that is why I hope that in the near future, we will see the victory of justice.
Well, thank you. I was struck by the number of people on the first panel who mentioned the history of Europe and what happened with Germany and Adolf Hitler and the repetition that we're seeing now of those kinds of events. Mr. Raymond, did you want to add anything?
Yes, Senator Shaheen, the issue here
is unique, specific to children. Underneath the Geneva Convention, there is something called the Special Protected Status, and it means children cannot be treated as hostages, spies, or POWs. So this is not just about Ukraine, it's about the future of all children in the wars of today and tomorrow. If we give the green light as the United States to treating kids like they're POWs or hostages, that special protected status is gone, and it's catastrophic.
Well, thank you both. I would like to just ask one more very brief question, if that's all right, Mr. Chairman, because Freedom House has documented that the Lukashenko regime in Belarus is complicit in the kidnapping of Ukrainian children. Can anyone speak to what we know about the scope of Lukashenko regime's involvement?
I would like to answer this question because my organization, Regional Center for Human Rights, cooperated with Freedom House. So for me, it is an honor to testify on behalf of both of our organizations. So as for the role of Lukashenko regime and the displacement of Ukrainian children to Belarus, since 2021 till 2024, we have documented 2,219 Ukrainian children who were displaced to 18 camps and other facilities in Belarus. But what is the fact? After our hearings last year in the United States Helsinki Commission, after all these sanctions imposed by those who organized these trips and re-education processes in Belarus, we see only 150 Ukrainian children in Belarus this year. It means that it had a frozen effect, at least. And one great example, it is about mayor of Novopolotsk. He was put under sanctions, and now there are no Ukrainian children in Novopolotsk.
Thank you. Thank you all very much.